The Astacasia School of Technology was a school created by the Benerit Group for the space development industry and consisted of three main departments: management strategy, mechanical, and piloting. So for every student, mobile suits would somehow be part of their curriculum. And the most popular suit on campus was the appropriately named Demi-Trainer, made by the Burian company. They were famous for delivering excellent cost of performance, and this was pushed even further with the trainer. It was kept as basic as possible, giving it superb serviceability and also superb maneuverability thanks to its light weight. And in turn, this basic design also made handling it very simple, turning it into the best choice for any beginning mobile suit pilot. And on top of all of that, the Demi-Trainer was also easy to modify, even by someone with only basic technical know-how, meaning that there were a lot of custom units out there, two of which we'll tackle in a second. First, let's go over the standard equipment that this thing comes with. At its most basic, it comes with a medium shield that is kept as basic as possible. It has a magazine-fed beam gun that has been set to low energy output as per school regulations, and a saber stick, with the emphasis being on stick because that is literally all that it is. But as with everything else on the Demi-Trainer, thanks to its simplicity, it's easy to use and serves as a great learning tool for the real deal. And when not in use, it can be stored on the backpack or the side skirts. And when it takes part in duels, the head is outfitted with a staff antenna, because at Astacasia, everything is taken care of with mobile suit duels, where the goal is to snap the opponent's antenna. On many mobile suits, this is a stylish or even very ornate thing, but for the Demi-Trainer, it is a simple rod. Simple to produce, simple to install, and simple to replace. But to provide the Demi-Trainer with more modularity and options, it used a multi-tool system called the Daedalus. The goal of this system was to have modular weapons with standardized blocks that could be easily put together and mounted onto the mobile suit. Part of this unit was a universal grip that came with attachments to turn it into a Gatling gun, missile launcher, drill, or circular saw, the ability to switch out the hands with missile launchers, and a crotch-mounted support arm for larger weapons. And these are just the options that we know about so far. One side note that I have to make here though is that even though this is described as a quad-barreled missile launcher in secondary literature, in the anime, we actually see it used as a B machine gun during target practice. And finally, Demi-Trainers have also been known to use a combat knife. Like the saber stick, this physical blade can be stored on the backpack or the side skirts, but it was also stored on the arms. And in addition to combat and training, this was also a very handy tool for miscellaneous tasks like cutting materials. And another really cool feature of the Demi-Trainer that you don't really see with a lot of other mobile suits is that when in standby mode, the front skirts can fold up to become a platform to make it easier to board the machine. Definitely a handy feature to have for a student mobile suit. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that, thanks to its serviceability, versatility, and pilotability, the Demi-Trainer was by far the most widely used and liked mobile suit on campus. However, this did not mean that the Demi-Trainers were cheap, and not everyone could afford the latest generation one. Based on the model numbers, we can assume that the Demi-Trainers have been around for at least 16 years, and while their outward appearance remained unchanged, their internals were gradually upgraded, creating a pretty big power gap between the older trainers and the latest trainers. Some would just have to bear and grin, but others would try to customize their older machines to bring them up to spec with the newer ones, which is exactly what the Earth House did with Project Chuchu. This project was overseen by their ace mechanic, Nikan and Naura, and was conceived with the goal of providing their best, and only pilot with a mobile suit that actually had a shot at winning. And with all their options considered, this custom Demi-Trainer was turned into the ultimate hit-and-run machine. Its main weapon now was a custom-made large beam rifle that seems like it was a minor variant of the version used by the standard Demi-Trainer. It was now hardwired to the backpack through an energy cable for more powerful beams, and by adjusting its convergence rate, the rifle was now perfect for both short and long ranges. The head then was outfitted with beam Vulcan guns, and its standard composite sensors were replaced with independent ones that were more suited for sniping. The left shoulder got a shield, the right shoulder was replaced with a lightweight hook, and finally the legs were modified for pure speed. The knee parts got flexible boosters that could rotate around, and in its heels, an additional set of wheel dash units were installed, doubling its driving force. But despite the obvious performance increase of these legs, there was a good reason as to why they weren't installed on the standard Demi-Trainer. Their brutal acceleration made them difficult to use, even for students who had undergone G-resistant training. Fortunately, this was no problem for its intended pilot, Chuchu Panlunch, better known as Chuchu, the namesake of the project. There was only one problem though. Chuchu's Demi-Trainer was the perfect long-range hit-and-run machine. But Chuchu herself preferred close-range combat, both in and outside of the cockpit.
First strike! Double kill.
Unfortunately though, the machine was badly damaged during a duel against the Grassley House, and many of these new parts were destroyed, forcing the cash-stripped Earth House to put the old, standard Demi-Trainer parts back on. The legs were a total loss, and so was the right arm. Another change then was that the large beam rifle became the large beam Gatling. The second variant then was the Demi-Trainer YOASOBI collaboration version. This machine was exhibited at the Benerid Group's incubation party and was designed to explore the idea of using a mobile suit to make music instead of using them as tools of war. Visually speaking though, the only thing that separates this unit from its standard brethren was the very eye-catching color scheme. And talking about using mobile suits for war, the Demi line would also see actual combat units in the form of the Demi Garrison, a more heavy-duty version of the Demi-Trainer, and also seemingly where the Chuchu custom got a lot of its upgrades. The head got overhauled, it has a more powerful backpack, large thruster units on the shoulders, flexible boosters on the knees, extra wheel dash units on the heels, and extra armor on the crotch. And in terms of weapons, it comes outfitted with 2 beam Vulcan guns on the head, it uses a more powerful beam rifle, and it appears to have 2 beam sabers mounted on its backpack. And it's also most likely compatible with the Daedalus option parts used by the Demi-Trainer. These machines were used as security mobile suits by the Front Management Company, but despite their high performance on paper, they were no match for the Gundams that they had to face. A lesser-known combat variant then is this so far unnamed unit from the Vanadis Heart manga. It looks like a predecessor to both the Trainer and the Garrison because they look like a more blockier and primitive version, and so far the only weapon we've seen him use is a beam rifle. Finally then, going from the oldest to the newest Burion machine, we have the Demi Barding. Like I said in the beginning, Burion was known for making machines that had excellent cost to performance and were therefore also very profitable. This was not the case at all with the Demi Barding, a concept mobile suit where Burion pulled out all the stops, profits be damned. They adopted all of the latest standards for this thing, and even many optional parts from the Daedalus were further developed and incorporated into the machine. Furthermore, almost the entire thing got a complete overhaul. It got a new head, torso, lower arms, high-performance shoulder armor, and lower legs that came with upgraded flexible boosters and an upgraded Wheel Dash Plus, now called the Wheel Dash Boost. But perhaps the most radical changes were the weapons. Things start pretty conventional, with 2 beam sabers stored in the flexible boosters, fist Vulcans that were supposedly just for suppressive fire, but in my opinion were also perfect for anti-personnel combat, and a new beam rifle called the Beam Rifle Plus. It comes with a battery magazine on the top and a sensor scope with side grip to hold onto it with both hands. But then we get to its backpack, the Bowery Pack. It comes with 2 rotating beam cannons and powerful thrusters, giving the Demi Barding a big performance boost. But there's more. It could separate from the Barding and could be independently controlled, giving it a lot of options on the battlefield, and the cockpit space could also be switched out with a non-permit link based control system. Now, in the Ad Stella timeline, permit is a mineral with many uses, one of them being making mobile suits easier to control, and so permit was incorporated into all mobile suit control systems. However, if someone were to come up with a weapon that could disable or override these permit links, it would leave those mobile suits completely defenseless. So, as a countermeasure, the Demi Barding could be outfitted with a legacy optical wireless communication system. This made the machine much harder to control and was even likened to trying to drive a car while being blindfolded, but it truly was the ace in the hole when faced with anti-permit systems. And despite all of these high-performance parts, what the Demi Barding did keep was the traditional look of the Demi series and Burion's famed ease of maintenance. And you can also still spot regular Demi parts on it, most notably in the waist, meaning that the machine maintained compatibility with the carrying arm for the Demi-Trainer's large beam gun, just in case it needed even more firepower. The Demi Barding was originally brought to Astacasia for trial runs by the Burion Dorm, but due to circumstances, it would be loaned to and fine-tuned for Chuchu, who would then quickly find an alternative use for the Beam Rifle Plus. As for where the Demi series will go next though, we'll have to wait and see, because if this 1-second clip from the final episode is anything to go by Ad Stella 125, the Demi-Trainers were replaced by a mobile suit that was most likely from the Turk based on the aesthetics. But personally, I'm looking very much forward to seeing what is next for this utilitarian series, and especially what mass production design the Demi Barding is going to inspire. So as always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great day, and I'll see you all next time.